Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take a quick look here at XRP, see what's going on. Local liquidation halfway swept there. That 215 range was retested and held as a support. Keep in mind, Bitcoin ran from 105 to 109.5K just a moment ago, and XRP is so far so slow. So I'm not super convinced we're back on track, but once more, we got to kind of take a look here and reevaluate and see if it's worthwhile taking a long or a short, or just kind of where we're at here. Quickly to note, there is a current promo going on with Bitunix. Be sure to take advantage of this. We have over 1,000 followers essentially using Bitunix. Take advantage of this, folks. There's a good offer there. Nice, easy rewards to qualify for. If you're new to the channel, of course, use the link right down below to register for that, or consider joining CryptoCache.tech. We got a nice new trading academy, community, and signals group. We take a look here, just to clarify. We got some nice profits here on our Bitcoin long, 9 days, 50%. And then, of course, our XRP long, 20% in 2 days there. We took that trade on Saturday. So at this point, though, we've got 2 or 3 other trades open right now. Leave them open. Bitcoin's looking super strong. We want to see if it's worth taking maybe a second trade. I get the question a lot, should I close my trade and profit? Well, let's see if that's worthwhile. Really just depends on what kind of trader you are, though, folks. Really, I mean, if you're like a long-term trader, don't worry about this. But if you are kind of a short-term, swing trader, then there are some areas we want to pay attention to. First of all, 210 to 214, still got a little bit of liquidation left there, but most of that has been fully swept. The area that you should have your target set on is 235 to 240. I think it's a distinct probability we see that, especially if Bitcoin can maintain 109, 110, even just say 107K or higher. Now, we will see a pullback if we see 107K for Bitcoin from XRP. Keep in mind, liquidation delta is shifting bullish, though. This hasn't fully shifted, but we're right there at that break even, basically implying shorts are getting squeezed out or they're closing their positions at a loss, which is a good sign. That's ultimately that trend reversal we want to look for. When we look at the last 7 days here of open interest, heaviest concentration at 218, we talked about that yesterday, 225 and roughly 230. So 225 to 230 is that local resistance for us. We'll see some exit liquidity there when the open interest positions are closed. All that being said, let's take a look here at the daily and kind of recognize that we're in a position right now where we're still below some key levels, right? We're still below the 50 and the 200-day SMA, but we're over our point of control here locally. In fact, actually, let's zoom out a little bit and get a better perspective of the largest amount of volume. We can see the most amount of volume is above the price at 240. That's right there at that upper liquidation range, but also 220. So as I mentioned yesterday, 220 to 240 seems like a very logical range-bound scenario for XRP if Bitcoin just continues to maintain its current range. Will XRP just take off and break out? Probably at some point with a fundamental catalyst, but between now and then, there's a lot of suppression at 240. So just understand that. So don't get super greedy with a long position at like 245, 250. The odds of that happening are fairly low. We need to have Bitcoin like seriously on target to break its local all-time highs or local highs, all-time highs, whatever the case. We need to see that happen first. XRP is looking pretty strong though on the daily. There's no other way around it. Same thing with the 4-hour time frame. We're going to see the same thing here with most altcoins. All confirming factors on the oscillators and indicators, and the same thing here as well, above our local point of control and or maintaining that range. So once more, I mentioned this yesterday, I'll mention it again, a long between 215 to 220 would have been in hindsight a perfect consideration for a long. We got in at 218 if I'm not mistaken, but at this point, if you're to FOMO into a long right now, just be mindful we could see a pullback to this local support at 220 if Bitcoin pulls back to its support 107, 108K, right? So that's kind of where we're at there. Anyways, it's always a crapshoot at this point. We're seeing a lot of manipulation in the market. And just kind of give you some perspective here, I sent this out on my Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, but we saw a perfect power of 3 trade setup. In other words, you get this accumulation phase, you get a manipulation phase here down to trap late shorts, and then they just blast everyone's face off with a strong manipulative wave to the upside there with an expansion essentially to break the local high. So anybody who shorted in the last 24 hours just got absolutely hammered. And those who took longs had to take a high risk long because we broke bearish on the short term. It's such a mind-screwing situation that it's important to recognize how these things work if you're going to consider, trading this market. Anyways, those are all things available on my Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. If you're not familiar, I do have an education section that covers all these things in our Discord, so be sure to get over there and get your learn on. Either way, I thank you so much for being an amazing part of my life. Why don't you comment below, let me know what your thoughts are on your XRP trades, and just at the very least, hit the like button every time you watch my video. It really helps grow the channel and get this in front of more people so less Moon Boys get those views, even though Moon Boys, I'm sure, were correct in telling you to take a high risk long yesterday. Either way, that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.